Hello, this is Bruce Maloch, State Senator for District 12, with an update on the coronavirus and a visit with Secretary of State John Thurston. Let's look at some of our COVID-19 numbers. The Health Department has started reporting probable cases along with confirmed cases. This week's numbers include the total, but even with just the confirmed cases, we added a lot of cases this week. As of October 1st, we've had 84,821 cases in Arkansas. We've had several days of over 1,000 cases, including 1,124 on the 1st. Our active cases are 7,244, and the total death count is at 1,384. We've had some spikes in parts of South Arkansas. I know people are COVID weary, but we can't let our guard down if we're going to slow the spread of the virus. The Arkansas Secretary of State has a host of responsibilities. This week, when I was at the Capitol, I sat down with Arkansas's Secretary of State, John Thurston. Secretary Thurston, thanks for joining me this week on the video. Tell us a little bit about the responsibilities of the Secretary of State's office.
Well, the Secretary of State's office is one of 7 constitutional offices. Everyone knows about the Governor and Attorney General, and then of course the Secretary of State, but there are 7 of us, and in the room that we're in now is the Secretary of State's office, and has been since the Capitol was completed. So there's a lot of history in this room. Every Secretary of State that's been elected has sat in this room, so it's an honor to be here. We have the Election Division, we have the Business Commercial Service Division. I'm responsible for this Capitol building, the Capitol Police, of course the grounds and facilities and all the monuments that are here. I'm responsible to just upkeep those monuments, and so there's a lot going on. We have over 120 employees, so it's a big operation.
You know, people know what the governor does and lieutenant governor and attorney general, but sometimes they don't realize all of the responsibilities of Secretary of State, and you really have one of the biggest offices. You mentioned elections, and that's coming up. People are maybe concerned about the security of the election process and then the safety of our citizens as they go out. So tell us about some of the plans for the upcoming election.
Sure. You know, before COVID came, everybody was talking about Russians and foreign actors interfering in our elections and so forth. And then COVID came on the scene, and all of a sudden, Russian interference went away. But here in Arkansas, people do ask about people interfering into the elections, hacking into our voting system, if you will. And the truth is, they cannot. You cannot hack into the voting machines, if you will. The voting equipment never goes on the internet. It never goes on the system. So each machine is a standalone, and then those results are put into the tabulator, which never goes online. Of course, the results are sent, but you would soon know if someone was messing with, from the county clerk to us, you could, before it's officially certified, you would know if someone interfered at that point. But as far as COVID goes, it's going to look like any other election. The polls are going to be open. The county clerks are working very hard to make sure that the social distancing is in place. There were some federal dollars that came down. Each state received a grant, if you will, and it was divvied up based on voter registration. So here in Arkansas, we had to come up with a 20% match. That's what the states had to come up with out of our budget, which was around $900,000. And you feel a number like that, but it's worth it. So the total amount is around $5 million when you count the federal and our match, and those dollars have to go toward COVID-related expenses. Anything related to COVID in the November election, that's where that money can go toward. So when we knew we were going to get those dollars, we began reaching out to the counties, asking them what their needs would be. They all said basically the same thing. They said we need personal protection equipment. We're going to need probably extra funding for absentee voting. And then poll workers, they thought if there was a potential to have an increased need in poll workers. So once we got that, we began ordering the PPE. The whole month of August, we were delivering that to the counties. We had all hands on deck. We had folks from the cafe, folks from the grounds crew delivering that equipment. So we've been very busy. So that's just kind of a nutshell.
And you've taken all those precautions for people that want to early vote or vote on election day, but you've also issued a statement, and then the governor confirmed that concern about COVID is also a reason to request an absentee ballot for someone that just doesn't feel safe getting out.
That's right. Absentee, that's another conversation we had when COVID came on the scene. I asked our director, Leslie Bellamy, our legal counsel, and I said, are the laws in Arkansas adequate, sufficient? Will they accommodate everyone during this crisis, during this pandemic, pertaining to absentee? And we felt like that the absentee laws and the application was broad enough, and that was the reason the legislatures wrote it that way. My opinion was broad enough that it covered this situation. So you can vote absentee.
So, a person needs to go vote, whether it's absentee or early voting or on election day, and they can feel safe doing that, and they can feel safe that their vote is secure and it's counted accurately. Now, I know that's what is on most people's minds, but let's just very briefly fast forward into next year. We're having the census done every 10 years, and then there will be a redistricting for all of the legislative seats. So tell us a little bit about that process and how you'll be involved in that.
That's right. It's going to be a big year. So
yes,
we're going to wrap up this big election season, go straight into a session, and then start drawing the district lines. So I don't know when it's going to slow down anytime soon, but so after the census, and it will be wrapping up this year, and I have all the census dates over there on the other desk there. But once those numbers are completed, they're certified by the president, they're given to the county or the states.
Yes.
And then the redistricting process begins. So at the county level, the election commissioners draw the lines for your JP at the county level. Your school districts are drawn by the school board. The congressional lines, the legislatures draw those, your congressional districts, and your state House and state Senate districts are drawn by the Board of Apportionment, which is made up of the governor, attorney general, and secretary of state, myself. So a lot of moving parts during that time, and my goal, at least my position, and the way I'm going into this process is I would love to see the districts or the lines coordinate as much as possible from county, federal, state, just so it makes more sense for the public. And that's my approach going in, but we'll see how it goes.
And I know you'll have a lot of people tugging at you on that, sure, but I'm going to agree with you. Draw them where they make sense, know. So, Secretary Thurston, really, I appreciate you joining us today. Good information about your office, about the elections, and looking forward to redistricting. So, best of luck to you, and thanks again for joining us.
You bet. Thank you.